All right, Dave Stallman here. Let's talk about some more graphs and data analysis, good and bad. So here's an example of a really bad pictogram. And the reason for this is if you look at this pictogram and you look at the size of these pens, they're talking about the like advertising, who gives you the best advertising for the dollar. And it's obvious that Time magazine has the hugest pen by a significant amount. And if you look at the numbers, this is 2.5 million, that's 4.5 million. So it's about double. Time is about double of Newsweek. But the problem is the pen is significantly larger in area than this. And so the numbers and the areas of the pens don't match up. And so it's deceiving. The numbers are accurate. The pictogram is not accurate. So if you're a salesperson for Time and you're trying to sell advertising, this is a great way to basically convince your future customers that you're the best, even though the numbers are accurate, but the graphs are not. Now, line graphs are really good for showing how things change over time. And when you do a line graph, you always want to have the time on the x-axis, and you can see time chugging away. And then, your variable is on the y-axis. And then what you do is you connect the points with a line. And you can see what's going on. Now, what I find really interesting about this graph is that this is cost per gallon, and there's 4 data points per year. And it looks like it spikes and it goes down, and it spikes and it goes down, and it spikes and it goes down, and it spikes and goes down, and it spikes and goes down. It's just consistently happening that way. And that can be a little confusing unless you notice that there is seasonal variation going. And so, prices tend to spike in the summertime when people go on vacation, usually right around Memorial Day. And then, they change in the other seasons, and winter is usually the lowest. So that's what's going on with this, up and down spike per year. Now, what will happen is some data will be seasonally adjusted, and what that means is they'll take the spring, summer, winter, fall data and they'll average it all together to get an average for the year. But it can also be useful to see it by season. Now, one of the things that can really help you, and I'm doing air quotes here, that help you lie about the data to make an argument, is to change the scale of the data. Now, this data is all about the number of unmarried couples that are living together instead of getting married. Now, if you're against that concept, you could show a graph like this and argue, oh, this country's going to heck. Look at how the number of unmarried couples is increasing. This is terrible. It's going straight up. Just going straight up. This is terrible. On the other hand, you could show the data like this and, like, dude, chill out. Look at the graph. It's not as bad as you're making out to be. Sure, it's going up, but it's not going up at any kind of significant rate or anything. It's not a big deal. And when you compare the two graphs together, what you'll see is that they're both over the same time period, and they both have the same data points. But the difference is how the x-axis is compressed and stretched, or stretched and compressed, in order to make a point. And so as a consumer of data, you have to be very skeptical. You have to wonder, what is the person that's presenting this data, what is their motive? Why is it that what is it that they're trying to convince me of? And then you can look at the data with a critical eye. So when you are making good graphs, make sure that you have labels and legends, that are accurate and that you have a source for the data. You make the data stand out, and pay attention to how the eye looks at the data. You want to make sure your scales and your pictograms are appropriate and not misleading. All right, here is the assignment for this section. So I'll give you some time to work on that. And know that our next assignment will be about finding and discovering actual good and bad graphs. And so that'll be a fun project that we'll do next. All right, thank you.